everyone, welcome to Watercolors with Jaylene, and thank you for joining me today. So Easter is right around the corner, and I do have a fun little project for us to work on. So grab your paint brushes and join me. Let's get started. So to get started on my Easter bunch of carrots, I want to go over my materials list briefly with you, and it's just a piece of watercolor paper and of course my set of watercolors, some clean water for my brushes. I do have my number 8 round brush. I have a number 2 round brush. I don't know if I'll be using it, but I do want to have it here just in case. And then of course I have my pencil and my eraser, and then a couple different size of the fine point markers, and they're permanent markers. One is my Sharpie, and then my Micron 05, which is a little bit finer of a point. I'm not sure if I'll be using it, but there again, I do want to have it here just in case. And so before we get started, I would like to ask you to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. It really helps me grow. I appreciate all of you. And if you could leave comments or questions below, I do like to get back to everyone. I read them all. Go ahead and hit the like button and also the little bell. And if you hit the bell, then when I have new videos posted, you'll be notified, and so you won't miss any of them. So to get started, what I will be doing is, I'm going to set this over to the side for now, and I'm going to draw 5 carrots. I like to do everything in odd numbers. And so they're very easy to draw. I know a lot of people, you know, you get intimidated when it comes to drawing, but there's no right or wrong really. And so, you know, we just kind of draw basically a big old tear shape, right? And then I'm kind of making some of them larger than others and higher, wider, longer. And you'll see, and I hope you can see on the video what I'm doing. I am drawing it very light, and I'm leaving a lot of area at the top because I will have the greenery for the carrots, you know, sticking out of the top. So, you know, I'm just kind of drawing these, and I'm making sure that they are, you know, not straight, and then the bottoms are just a little bit curved. All right, and so that's number 4, and then I'll put one last carrot here, coming down. And then of course the greenery will be coming out of the top of each one of these. And so I'm not really going to draw that in. I'll just freelance that with the paints. And so I do want to have 5 different colors, of course. And the colors I think that I'll use today are going to be yellow, orange, green, blue, and purple. And did I just come up with those off the top of my head? Absolutely not. I have them written down on a little piece of paper outside of the camera frame so that I wouldn't forget. So to get started, and you'll see how quick and easy these are. So on this one, this is the yellow, and I'm just grabbing some paint and painting it in very quickly. I'm leaving a little bit of white area, as you can see. And then I'm going to grab some of my orange. And I'm really not mixing any colors. I'm using them straight out of the, here, let me kind of pull this back over. This is a cadmium orange. And I'm using them straight out of right out of the tray. I do have a lot of water on my brush, and the paint is very light in color. My brush is not heavy with paint, is what I should say. And then for the green, now I just made a liar out of myself because my green that I'm using today is my Grinch green. And it's a color that I do mix up. It's Hooker's green and lemon yellow, and I mentioned this in many of my videos. I use it a lot at Christmas, and that's why I've named it Grinch Green, because I do a lot of Grinches at the holidays. They're always very popular. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to blue. And the blue that I'll be using is just a turquoise blue. And very lightly on my brush. There again with a lot of water. You can see how quick and easy this is. And this is a lot of fun. You know, make little cards, centerpieces, place mats, or place, what do I want to call those? Place cards. You know, if you're having a dinner. And you can see where the green kind of came into the blue a little bit, and that was intentional. I don't know if I mentioned that, but that was intentional. And I am going to be kind of layering the colors to give it a little, you know, give all of the carrots a little bit of depth. So let me grab just a hint of purple here. And we want to keep this rather light also. You know, a lot of the colors at Easter time are very pastel-y. And so that is the look that we want to go for. Let me just kind of add a little bit more paint here so it can blend a bit. Okay, so now while those are drying a bit, I'm going to go back over and just grab just a dab of orange and along one side, and not the whole way down, but you know, just kind of put in a couple little lines to make it darker. And then we're going to be doing some accents and such with the black markers, so that'll really just add to it. And so with the yellow, which can be a little difficult to do, but there, see, all I did was the first time when I went through and painted it, there was very little color or pigment on my brush. It was mainly water. And so now I'm just grabbing more paint to add some of these lines as we go down through. And then I'm going to grab just a little bit more of my green and do the same thing here. And just kind of here or there. You don't want to get too much, you know, too many lines in, but you do want to have a few here and there. And then once we, you know, grab the marker and start working with that, you'll see just how well it all falls together. These are just kind of fun to do, you know, for the Easter holiday. Everyone has their eggs and their little Easter bunnies, and if time permits, I will be putting out a video with a bunny. I'm not making any promises on that to anyone, but I do want to hopefully get one out. And so I just want to make sure this is dry enough. Yeah, that's not quite dry enough, so I will hold off on that one for just a minute. You can see, because it wasn't quite dry enough, how the darker purple or the heavier purple that I was putting on the second layer is blending in with the first layer, and that's not the look that I want. I want it to be very separated, as in the other four carrots that I did. So I'm going to hold off on that for now, and while that's drying, I'm going to grab some of my green and just kind of I'm going to start down into the carrot just a little bit and kind of come up and swoop around. And you know how the ends of the carrots, or the, you know, the greenery on the carrots is very wispy and very fine. And so what I want to do is just kind of fill this in with green. Now, and I'm going to, once again with this, also be adding a couple of layers, and then we'll be accenting it with the markers as well. And we do want to give quite a bit of height to the greenery. Okay, and they're all kind of running together. And you want to make it nice and full. And this first layer, here, let me get just a little more paint on my brush. And if it, if they kind of, if it kind of all falls together and blends together, that's fine, because we will be adding another layer upon layer upon layer. And then down here, I think I want just a little bit thicker coming out of the top of the carrot. I don't want to say the base of the carrot, the top of the carrot. And so then we'll come over here, and it's, pretty much the same thing. And you can like push down on your brush and then loosen up or lighten up, to give it different thicknesses. Let that kind of come down. So now we'll let that layer dry for a moment. And while that's drying, I think it's pretty safe to go back in and just put in some of my little, I don't know, stress marks, or I'm not sure what these are called. Okay, so we're going to give this just a minute to dry, because we don't want the green tops, we don't want the different shades of green to blend necessarily. We want to add layer upon layer upon layer, kind of like we did with the carrots themselves. So we'll give this just a minute to dry, and then we'll add some more greenery, and then I think it'll be just about time to start filling in, or I should say accenting with the black marker, and that's what's really going to make it pop. So we'll give this just a minute, and then we'll continue on with the next layer. Okay, so I think that's pretty dry, or dry enough to go ahead with the next layer. And so for the next layer, I'm just going to use a different shade of green and kind of fill this in a little bit. We'll start over here, I guess. And this is kind of a sap green. Well, not kind of, it is a sap green. And there again, I'm just using the tip of my brush and kind of doing some squigglies. And I seem to be better with my squiggles coming off to the right than I am the left. Have you noticed that? I think everyone has a side that's easier with a lot of things. Mine is proving to be my right side, which I'm right-handed, so that only makes sense. It stands to reason, right? And I'm trying to do this so that I keep my hand out of the way so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So I guess it'll be easier just to turn this. And then for this last one, we'll bring it up, and I'll do this side. We'll just kind of get some of this going. And I'm just kind of filling it in, hit or miss right around here. Let me turn this right side. Okay, and so let's finish off the right side of this. You can see this is really a lot of fun to do. There's not a whole lot of thought process going on here. Okay. Very good. All right, so I think that pretty much does it. We've got a lot of green going on up there at the top. So now I'm going to just kind of slide my paints over. And this is still a little bit damp, and that's okay. What I'm going to do just with my marker is just kind of go around and, you know, kind of follow the outside of the each of the carrots. Draw in a few of the little lines, I call them stress lines. I don't know what they're actually called. And so now for the blue carrot, you know, we come down through. And I'm not doing 100%. You can see where I've left a couple little areas where I did not, you know, trace it with the marker. And we've left a few of the white areas, and that's more for reflection, you know, to simulate the look of a light reflection. Okay, so we just kind of fill these in a little bit. And then the orange carrot. And there again, just kind of do a few of the lines. And then we'll come over and our yellow carrot. Now this yellow does look a little bit off. I think I actually had a little bit maybe of a greenish or something mixed in with my yellow in my paint tray. I'm not sure. Okay. And so then up where the greenery comes out of the top of the carrot, I do want to make a few marks that just kind of represent like a little bit of an indent where the greenery would be coming out. And then for the greenery itself, with the marker, I just want to kind of come up and do a few fine lines. I'm not going to do as many with the black marker that I did with the paints, because I think it would just that would indicate just a little too much. But I do want to kind of, you know, with the black marker, it helps define each individual stem coming out. We could even go like this and make it just a little thicker where it's coming out of the carrot itself. Okay, well, this one is still a little too wet for that. I think this one might, well, this is still a little wet also. So I'll work on the outer part. I'm kind of rushing through this just for the sake of the video. If you were, you know, sitting down to paint these yourselves, you may want to take a break in between and let the layers dry a little bit better than what I'm doing here, just because, you know, when you go to use your marker, it's going to be a little bit easier on top of the paints. Because, you know, a lot of this, like I did a little bit of the blending. I just want to kind of go back through and explain what I did. For the blue, for instance, I did put a little darker of blue on the light blue to let it blend, and then I let it dry so that I could add some of the sharper, crisper lines on top of that. So I think you probably get what I'm saying there. Okay. And then, as I mentioned before, if you haven't already liked or subscribed to my channel, if you could go ahead and do that. I would greatly appreciate it. You know, I really appreciate all of you that take a few minutes and watch my videos, and I hope that it does give you some inspiration so that you can sit down and pick up a paintbrush and pencil and do your own thing, because it is a lot of fun. And if you were to do this same little design 3 times, all 3 times, it's going to look a little bit different. As you do it over and over and over again, they will get better and better and better looking. But the main purpose is just to have fun doing it. And so I think that is enough for now. I don't want to do any more to this. I was going to add a little bit of background color, but I kind of like it just the way it is now. And it's, you know, I purposely overemphasized the tops of the carrots. That was kind of my goal. And I think that they look really cool and fun. So like I said, you know, go ahead, pick up a paintbrush, grab a color scheme, and just have fun with it. And until next time, ciao for now.